in the beginning of the season, Scott and I gave out our predictions as to who we thought were going to win each division and, the pennant in the World Series.
Yeah.
And I don't even recall who I picked, other than for the White Sox to win it all, as I always do. Blind faith. Come on, Cubbies, you know what I'm talking about.
We actually matched on this one. This is the only time but from the bottom to the top, we picked the Phillies for last place.
All right, well...
the East.
Oh, we're going to the East. Okay. All right, Phillies for last place.
And then Braves. So we had those two flip-flops. Okay. It's only 2.5 game difference. I'd say we ballparked that one.
Okay.
We both knew they were not going to be contenders.
That's that's picking who's going to lose. That's the loser pool right there, which I like loser pools.
Actually, we were pretty good. Then we picked the Marlins to be third, which they were.
Okay.
And then we flip-flopped the top two. We each picked the Mets to finish first with the Nationals second.
How about that?
That's not too bad. The Mets had, and you can't predict injuries, and the Mets had a pretty rough go with losing some of their main starting pitchers at certain points in the season. And now we're going to go over to the American League East, and we're going to just show our own hubris.
Yeah.
And by the way, as we're talking about...
Obviously, are not experts, is what this is all about.
Well, we're going to prove that we're not experts. We're not just claiming that we're not experts. We're going to demonstrate it. And I predicted incorrectly almost every single playoff series.
Well, who knows?
It was a crazy playoffs. Okay, so the American League East. Who did we guess? So this we're going to show how
from last to first.
I will say that I was accurate in saying that the Rays would be last. Joe.
Oh my goodness! All right. Let me just say, all right. I picked that the Orioles were going to finish last in their division, and here's why. Okay, this was all based on off-season front office activity with the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah. They had a muddy offseason.
It was. I'm sorry, they did not seem like they were on the same page. Anybody in the front office.
Just as Dexter Fowler. There we go.
Exactly. How about that? And oh my goodness, how could you imagine how that would have played out though? Had Fowler gone to Baltimore? So, in addition to the falling through, who was it on the Orioles? He goes out and he's talking to the reporters. And the media,
Jones, not Andrew Jones, but something Jones.
Manny Jones or something. Like he's talking to reporters and he's like telling the reporters like, yeah, Dexter's probably on his way right now. Adam Jones.
Thank you.
He's probably on his way right now to spring training. We're really excited. We can't wait to get to work. And then like an hour later, he was with the Cubs. So like, I'm sorry, just to me, if I was on the Orioles, I'd be thinking, what the fuck is going on here?
Absolutely.
People? And there was no way they were going to, do anything in that division. Obviously, I was wrong.
Yes. And I was with you on a lot of that because the Orioles, they had a lot of weird things happen where they were almost done signing a pitcher, and then they kind of released his physical and said, no, we're going to pull out of the deal now. So it seemed really quite strange.
It was weird. And it seemed like that wasn't the only instance.
Exactly.
There were a couple other...
They made themselves not a desirable place to go.
Exactly. So
I picked the Yankees. I will brag. I picked the Yankees to be fourth accurately. They still finished over 500. I don't think they've had an under 500. Hello, Russia. I don't think they've had a season where they finished under 500 in a very, very long time. So even when they're not good.
Well, they did go over 500.
Exactly. So they're still 6 games over 500, which I would have liked that for the White Sox.
No, I would have taken that for the White Sox too. But I did choose that I picked the Yankees to finish. Where did I get
third?
Third.
Real close.
Not too bad. I kind of there was something in it. There's something about that team in the last couple of years. It's not a full out rebuild, obviously, but like I just didn't. I don't feel the confidence of the Yankees.
No, I think
that I have in the past. Like growing up, they were a dominant team.
Yeah.
When my dad was growing up, they were a dominant team, and now I'm just like, man.
They absolutely had a great
trade deadline.
Trade deadline, thank you. Yeah.
Yes. Well, they're going to be badass in 4 more years. You're not kidding. They are the winners of the trade deadline. The Yankees.
Yeah.
No question.
Especially because there's a good shot they will be getting Chapman back.
How
they'll
about
still
that?
have the players that they got from the Cubs. And again, you can't be mad as a Cubs fan because
you got what you wanted.
Get them to the World Series and win it. So
you got what you wanted out of the deal.
That's an everybody wins scenario.
Big time.
So I had the Orioles finishing third. They ended up finishing second.
Who did I have third?
We both You had Yankees third, Rays fourth.
Okay, that's what it was. I skipped over the Rays. Yeah, that's what it was.
We both had the Red Sox at second place, and they ended up winning the division.
Mm-hmm.
They finished very strong.
Yeah.
And of course, the Orioles and Jays, they both had first place for big chunks of the season. The National League East was a pretty fun one.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, Miller is being traded from the Yankees as well.
How about that, man? There was so much going on in this division this year, and it almost seemed a little dysfunctional because everything was out of sorts in terms of the traditional way.
Yeah.
Traditionally, the East, you know how it's going to go.
Sure.
It's usually New York and Boston are really fighting it out. Sometimes the Blue Jays will show up and knock on your door, and then everybody else is kind of like hanging out at the party, getting free drinks at the bar. That's usually how it is. But this year, although the Red Sox won their division, didn't always seem that way.
Yeah.
You had Baltimore just really killing it at one point.
Oh, but to start out the season especially, they had big leads on the division.
I don't think anyone was really surprised by the Yankees or the Rays, but the Blue Jays, I thought I had the Blue Jays. Well, I had the Blue Jays at pick. I picked them to finish first.
They were tied, I guess, technically. Tied for second there.
Yeah.
And the Jays, talk about a muddy front office. Both out of the East, the Orioles had a terrible offseason, a weird offseason. And then the Jays got their season off on the wrong foot by making it fairly well known that they've kind of alienated their two biggest hitters, Encarnacion and Bautista, with not really handling their whole, will we bring them back? We're not going to negotiate.
Well, I think if you're going to open that door, you'd be ready to close it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
If you're no matter how it goes, but if you're going to open it in the middle of the season and talk about doing an extension of some sort, you better be prepared to do it.
Yeah.
And if you can't seal that deal, and you're the guy who opened up the deal, and you're not the player,
mm-hmm.
you can't fault the player, man. I mean, that is dysfunction. And not only is Edwin leaving, but it looks like Jose, but he's out the door too.
It'll be interesting. I mean, Bautista does want certainly a good chance Edwin will go to the Red Sox with Ortiz retiring.
Yeah.
And then he's going to Toronto is really going to be upset about that.
Oh, yeah, because a division rival, man.
But, and of course we lost Bautista for a chunk of the season. Mm-hmm. And of course, maybe one of the bigger headlines during the season was the rematch with Texas, where he got a quick one and done, much like an Indian fan saying hello to a Cubs fan in the streets.
Hello.
So we'll go to the National League Central next.
National League Central, okay.
We guessed, and the reality was true, that the Reds and Brewers would both finish towards the bottom. Reds were in last place. I picked the Brewers to be last. Joe was accurate on this one.
Hey, man, that was like writing on the wall. I was seeing colors at that point in the day. And it just made sense.
The Reds did do a little selling off. The Brewers did too, but not as much as I thought they would do. The Reds still have Joey Votto, still one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah.
Too bad he's toiling away on a pretty rough team. We all picked the Pirates where they finished, which was third place. I thought the Pirates would have been much more competitive, though, than they actually were.
I did too, man. I thought they were going to be a little bit more spoilers, than anything. But
I thought they could have snuck in maybe to a wild card. If both wild cards came out of the Central, I would not have been totally surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's a lot. All respect to Rizzo. Votto has been so good for so long that Rizzo, to me, has a couple more years to go to get to that level of.
Well, not only that, but I think Rizzo's on a pace just to be Rizzo.
There you go. He's his own man.
He doesn't have to be the next anything. He's already got his place in history.
We did pretty well here.
This is an easy division to pick, actually, because the Cubs really were going to be the team. They were just dominating, but we also knew that they were going to be a tough team to beat.
You gave credit to the Cardinals because they were the defenders.
Champs.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. I picked Cards 2, Cubs 1, and enjoyed them flip-flop, but we knew Cubs were going to be dominating this season. We all picked the Twins to finish where they finished, which was dead last during our prediction show. But I'll admit that the next week when we were on, news came out that was it Abraham Almonte, the starting center fielder for the Indians, had just been busted for PED use,
mm-hmm.
and that was enough for me And I think we knew more that Brantley's shoulder, their main source of power, was not going to be ready. So I ended up bumping the Indians down to last place in the Central.
Wow.
And
I kept them at 4th place the whole season.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we were wrong either way.
Couldn't have been more wrong.
But, I mean, they just didn't show any real... Back then, they did not seem like a very intimidating ball club.
No, they had good pitching, and we knew that from the start. More than made it. They really danced their way right in easily.
Yeah, he was. Rajay Davis, I agree, man. Like he just made it count when he needed to, I guess,
So the Indians we knew they had some good pitching, and we knew they had some young talent. We also knew that they had their best hitter was going to be on the disabled list for a chunk of the season. And I liked what they did in the offseason with, things, well, Coco, I think, was a during-the-season trade, but they brought on a lot of veterans, including Juan Uribe and Rajai Davis and Mike Napoli. These, to me, were good guys to help shape and be good role models for their young team because they weren't going to be competing anyway this year.
Yeah.
So I thought.
Yeah.
And I thought the Indians were going to be a scary, scary, scary team next season. Mm-hmm. But they much like the Cubs did last year, they arrived a year early.
Yeah, I think he was a little tired, Andrew Miller.
Oh, man. He was ridden. Yeah, he did.
Rightly so, man. These guys are human beings.
Mm-hmm.
We all are. No one's going to be able to put that kind of physical exertion on their body and continue to just dominate.
It was amazing.
Runs out of gas.
Francona did what he had to do to get to Game 7, and that's having lost Carlos Carrasco and Salazar. They're two of their most important pitchers. So the fact that they were there all the way to Game 7 is amazing.
It's a really good story for the Indians. It really is. Yeah. So moving on.
So we picked Indians 4. We both picked Tigers 3rd.
Okay, and who finished 3rd was the Royals.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
I didn't see that coming.
These teams that go to the World Series, that you got to keep in mind. We talked about this all season a lot, and even especially in the beginning. But like when you go 200 innings in your pitcher, 200 plus innings in a season for 2 or 3 years in a row, and you go deep into the postseason as a team, 2 or 3 seasons in a row, like the Royals did, you do fall apart after a while. You can't maintain that.
Tigers, by the way, speaking of Tigers, we could jump into it really quickly. And somebody had mentioned that they love J.D. Martinez. J.D. Martinez is just an awesome hitter.
Yeah, he is.
He is. As White Sox fans, I was so annoyed when this guy just appeared on their team and was suddenly a badass.
Yeah.
Like, geez, okay, we already know we have to deal with Miguel Cabrera, and they've always got an arsenal of sluggers. And then this guy, J.D. Martinez, seemed to come out of nowhere and be a thorn in the side of everyone. Mm-hmm. That said, there is talk that the Tigers are going into a rebuild mode. They've got a stupid amount of money on the books in the next several years. Cabrera, Zimmerman, Upton. So they've got not a lot of room to operate within, and we've already seen it start with them trading away Cameron Maybin for almost nothing. It was a Double-A pitcher, Victor Alcantara, who had an ERA of 4.40 last year, over 20 starts in Double-A. So really, they weren't trying to get anything. They were just trying to get rid of that $9 million option that they had on him.
Yeah.
The most tradable asset they have may very well be J.D. Martinez, who is, I think he's in arbitration still, so he's going to get more expensive, but he's still not prohibitively expensive. If the Tigers do trade J.D. Martinez, it'll really signify a full rebuild, but they will certainly get a hell of a lot of compensation for it. So they can restock their farm system and even some spots on the Major League roster pretty quickly, I think. And the Royals, talk about a team that was marred by injuries this year. The Royals, just left and right, were losing their core players.
And they finished exactly 81 and 81.
Still respectable.
It is. Hey, you know what? If you break even, you can't complain. These guys are still hungover from the previous year. And we'll get to that. You Cubbies. All you Cubbies in a few seconds, man. You guys aren't hungover yet because you're still enjoying the party. But sooner or later, you're going to be like, what the fuck, You're going to be pissed off you're not winning.
I thought if they lost Game 7, are they even making the playoffs next year? The talent's there, but, man, talk about hangover.
Yeah.
In a really hard way.
The talent is there. You guys should win at least one more World Series. Like, I mean, we're talking repeat here.
Yeah.
If not another
There's
two.
Hutch.
There he
Thanks
is.
for joining.
We went to.
Let's go to the National League West.
National League West.
We are Hutch. Thank you again for joining us. Let somebody else remember the Arrieta bet. I was going to bring it up. I thought maybe I shouldn't. Hutch and I had a bet. That's awesome that somebody else remembered.
Wow, dude.
Hutch and I had a bet. He did not think Arrieta would reach 15 wins, and I said he would. Regular season only, and I think I won it, but I'm going to actually verify
So
it.
what the hell's going to happen?
We were Red Sox or a White Sox hat we were going to buy for each other.
Okay. Ooh. Wow. I love this stuff.
Yeah, 18 wins. I get a new White Sox hat.
Wow, well.
How about it?
Scott's going to be hanging out at MLBshop.com all night long.
There we go.
Different models and whatnot.
That's true.
I don't know if they'll always will at that. He looked like his arm was about to fall off in Los Angeles, man. I'm sorry.
But even then, oh no, it doesn't have to be fitted. I have no idea what size my head is anyway, so.
It's big.
Getting bigger. Joe accurately picked the Padres to finish last in the West.
Whoa.
I thought Alexi Ramirez could alone take him to fourth.
Yeah, right. How about it, man? I thought, there's something about the Padres this year, and turned out to be exactly true. They are who we thought they
yes,
are.
and Trevor Story, one of the best stories of. I wasn't trying to make a stupid pun there. One of the best stories of the Major League season was definitely the emergence of Trevor Story coming to Colorado after everything went down with Jose Reyes, all the black mark that he left behind in Colorado.
Yeah.
But he was amazing, and he definitely kept the Rockies in it for a lot of the season. Mm-hmm. They did trail off hard in the second half.
Well, Hutch just mentioned that Bud Black is the new manager of the Rockies.
Gotcha. He was once pitching coach for the Cardinals, I believe.
I thought he was the lead singer for a cover band in high school.
That could all be true.
Maybe we'll have to look it up in the yearbook.
Yeah, the universe.
Yeah, the Universal is, I call my friends.
It's the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That's Angels. That's what it is.
Yeah, we will definitely talk about the Diamondbacks a lot very soon, as they finished fourth, and we didn't pick. Neither of us picked that for them. I had the Padres fourth. Joe had the Rockies fourth. I
had the Diamondbacks. No, I did have the Rockies.
You had the Rockies fourth, yeah. And so third, I picked the Diamondbacks third, but I thought they might sneak into a wild card even in that position. Joe had the Giants third.
Yeah.
Again, Rockies did better than we thought they were going to do. Moving up the ladder here, Joe picked the Dodgers second, and I picked the Giants second. Giants did finish second, and I picked the Dodgers to win it. Joe. Yes.
This is the hammer Scott's about to drop.
Well, Joe picked the Diamondbacks to not only win first place here, but to, I think, win the pennant, maybe.
Maybe, yes, I think so. And again, I'm just going to go off of a few things here during the offseason. One of the most aggressive teams in the West was the Diamondbacks.
They surprised everybody by getting Zach Greinke.
And they had a really good team. I like their front office. They got Dave Stewart there. They got Tony La Russa. And I like what I'm seeing.
They got, for their relief corps, they picked up Tyler Clippard, which was a nice pickup as well.
Goldschmidt at first. I mean,
they do have one of the best power hitters in baseball with Goldschmidt.
So, to me, things were starting to click for Arizona, and I was getting on that bandwagon.
Not a lot of people would have picked against you on that one.
I agree. See, this is where...
and they also, in addition to all of these good pickups they had, with another good, a lot of good players that they were bringing in, they had an emergence of Jacob Lamb, hit 29 home runs, made the All-Star team.
Yeah.
And on base was slugging in the mid-800s. And Yasmani Tomas hit 31 home runs. You think, oh my gosh, you're getting this kind of production out of people that we weren't expecting.
Yeah.
Then we got all these good guys. We're going to walk away. We're going to cub it up and just be the dominant team.
And they just weren't.
It did not come together from the very beginning.
It's just, I think something went down with Greinke in the first week or two, and there was a sinking feeling right from the beginning.
Well, and then there was also the trade that brought on, help me out, who was the pitcher that they traded for from Atlanta? And they gave up a lot of talent to get him, and he was absolutely garbage.
Mm-hmm. No, it's too bad. I mean, that's what happens. Sometimes you put your chips all in like that, and you lose.
Yes.
And you got to give him credit for trying.
Shelby Miller.
Shelby
thank you.
Miller.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And I mean, he was a guy that was supposed to be. Greinke was going to be their ace, of course, and that they had Patrick Corbin on the staff. They had other pitchers, but he was going to be like. People were hoping maybe he'd be their co-ace, or at least a very strong co-number 2. And he ended up getting sent down midway through the season because he was that bad.
Ugh.
And throughout their struggles, their front office, as we talk about the White Sox front office being bad, their front office did not make any strong decisions. They didn't fire Chip Hale when everybody was thinking that they have to do this. Again, does firing the manager change the entire team? Of course not.
No.
But they weren't really doing much.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I'd say even though the White Sox got off to such a great start and then tanked, probably the biggest disappointment of this entire full season were the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. It's you just thought they were going to be bigger and badder, and they just weren't. And it is what it is, man. And they're going to go back to the drawing board like all the other 29 teams in baseball that didn't win the World Series. A segue to the American League West.
Yeah, this is our last division, and we all picked accurately that the Oakland A's would do nothing.
Yeah,
they did something where they had a fight in their clubhouse, which that was fun.
Did they?
Billy Butler and somebody I like a lot. I can't even remember his name now. I think he was a middle infielder. But no, they got into a fist fight.
Was it a former
Butler
White
was
Sox
shipped
player
out to no, but a good player to watch. Butler was shipped out to Valencia, yes.
That's it.
Butler was shipped out to, I think he was just DFA'd and the Yankees ended up picking him up.
To 4th.
We each picked the Seattle to finish there.
Yeah.
However.
Seattle had other plans.
Yeah.
Apparently they did not get the script.
I can't believe I didn't pick the Angels lower, which is where they finished was fourth place, because I hated the Angels.
I'm wondering, to me, the Angels is basically America and a credit problem. They overextended themselves with all these players
over and over
contracts, and even with their manager Socha, they got Socha locked up basically for a lifetime contract. It's up to him if he wants the extension. It's up to him if he's going to continue managing or if he wants to quit.
That's an interesting one. I could see Bautista going to the Angels because they love to give out big contracts to aging. The White Sox, what I will say, they might sign someone on past their prime, but they're cheapskates. They're not going to put $100 million contracts out there. Angels do.
White Sox go about half the value. So the Angels would probably be more apt to give him Bautista a $150 million contract.
Yeah. Look at Hamilton and Pujols and Vernon Wells.
Based on that alone, where the White Sox would give a contract in their eyes equal value for $72 million.
Angels they had terrible pitching this year, and it was kind of known going in that they had some huge injuries. Jared Weaver's contract, his $85 million contract, was in the last season, so he's off the books now. C.J. Wilson is coming off the books. The Angels still have some albatross contracts like Albert Pujols, but for one, he's been fairly productive.
Josh Hamilton as well. They're paying Josh.
Still paying Hamilton.
Yeah,
but so they're going to have a lot more money off the books that they can then spend unwisely as they tend to do.
Yeah, I mean, so Bautista's just going to line up. He's probably already got property in Anaheim Hills.
Yeah,
he's he's got a bat maker in Anaheim already.
He's checking out the Cougar dens down there.
You know it, dude. He's got it covered. All right, so then moving in.
So we put him up in third. They finished fourth.
And then who did finish third?
It's the Astros.
Wow.
This was one that I missed out on. I'd have to imagine others did too, because I loved the Astros going into the season. So much young talent.
Yeah.
They had proven the year before that they were really quite good. Dallas Keuchel, who was this dominant pitcher that kind of came out of nowhere like Arrieta did, just didn't have the same season this year.
Yeah. No, and someone just said that they're like the Cubs of the American League, and maybe they are, but I got to tell you, they had a really good season last year, and everyone lauded the front office for their ability to do so much with so little in terms of a budget. And I think expectations were they were just going to continue on, and maybe it was an anomaly last the season before, but they got third. They were over 500, but unfortunately,
definitely still a disappointment on the year.
And I had them at second. I had them in second place, and you had the Rangers.
I had the Rangers at second.
In second, which isn't far off on your end because
No.
they ended up winning the division and going to the playoffs. Whereas for me, I had Seattle ended up being second.
Yeah.
And
Robinson Cano, it turns out the previous season he was playing with a hernia, which was amazing that he was even just taking 4 at-bats a game. And found out shortly before the season started was that, yes, they did, Cano was injured all last year in a significant way, and he was healthy this year, and that very much showed. And I think Cano's health alone really helped the Mariners win a lot of the games that they won.
I think there's some good stuff coming towards Seattle in the next couple of years in terms of baseball.
I think so.
You know,
They're overdue.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously the Rangers took first place in their division,
which Joe called.
Yeah, I did. That's the one accurate thing I think I might have called all season long in terms of who's going to win their division.
Yeah, maybe.
But hey, it is what it is. You know?
Yeah.
The Rangers, weird season for them, man. They had at the deadline we're going for hitting or pitching, and then all of a sudden they went for hitting.
Yeah.
And then Fielder has to retire.
Yeah.
Because of a neck injury or whatever, the spinal injury.
I love the bit of poetry that Cecil Fielder and Prince Fielder had the same number of career home runs. So father and son.
Like father, like son.
That's apparently how far the Fielder name can get you.
Hopefully he'll stay away from the gambling table.
Joe picked the White Sox over the Diamondbacks in the World Series.
Way off base.
Two fourth place teams, right?
Yeah. I've never won fantasy baseball, by the way.
And I picked the Blue Jays to win over the Cubs, and it was close. I mean, the Blue Jays almost made it to the World Series. I was hoping
it would have been pretty
that
cool.
It could have actually happened. But yeah, they didn't make it. Cubs made it, and they won, of course. Jays, they looked pretty dominant at times. They were streaky this year.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they were streaky in the playoffs as well, where they got through the first round and then just died on the slab in the second round. I say unfortunately because I was rooting for my own preseason pick, and Josh Donaldson and Tulowitzki. And there's so many fun players. They didn't have enough pitching, in my opinion. Although the pitching wasn't as terrible as I thought they were going to be either. Anyway, so that's I think that sums up our season.